Hello guys, today I'm back with Leviticus chapter 15 today. So today is about rules about liquid body waste. So let's start. Chapter 15. Rules about liquid body waste. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Speak to the Israelites. Tell them, suppose liquid waste is flowing out of a man's body, the liquid is not clean. It does not matter whether it continues to flow out of his body or is blocked. It will make him unclean. Here is how his liquid body waste will make him unclean. Any bed the man who has the flow of a liquid body waste lies on will be unclean. Everything he sits on will be unclean. Anyone who touches the man's bed must wash their clothes. They must take a bath. They will be unclean until evening. Suppose someone sits on something the man sat on, then they must wash their clothes and they must take a bath. They will be unclean until evening. Suppose someone touches the man who has the flow of liquid body waste, then they must wash their clothes. They must take a bath. They will be unclean until evening. Suppose someone is clean, and suppose the man who has the flow of liquid waste spits on them, then they must wash their clothes. They must take a bath. They will be unclean until evening. Everything the man sits on when he is riding will be unclean. Suppose someone touches any of the things that were under him, then they will be unclean until evening. Even if they pick up those things, they must wash their clothes. They must take baths. They will be unclean until evening. Suppose the man who has a liquid flow touches someone, and suppose he does it without rinsing his hands with water, then the person he touched must wash their clothes. They must take a bath. They will be unclean until evening. Suppose the man touches a clay pot, then that pot must be broken. Anyone he touches must be rinsed with water. But suppose the man has been healed from his liquid flow, then he must wait 7 days. He must wash his clothes. He must take a bath in fresh water. After that, he will be clean. On the 8th day, he must get 2 doves or 2 young pigeons. He must come to the Lord at the entrance to the tent of meeting. There he must give the birds to the priest. The priest must sacrifice them. One is for a sin offering, the other one is for a burnt offering. And check out my videos that were made before if you want to learn about the burnt and sin offerings, because it's quite fun. In that way, the priest will pay for the man's sin in the sight of the Lord. He will do it because the man had the liquid flow. Suppose semen flows from a man's body, then he must wash his whole body with water. He will be unclean until evening. Suppose clothes or leather have semen on them, then they must be washed with water. They will be unclean until evening. Suppose a man sleeps with a woman, and suppose semen flows from his body and touches both of them, then they must take a bath. They will be unclean until evening. Suppose a woman is having her regular monthly period, then for 7 days she will be unclean. Anyone who touches her will be unclean until evening. Anything she lies on during her period will be unclean. Anything she sits on will be unclean. Anyone who touches her bed must wash their clothes. They must take a bath. They will be unclean until evening. Anyone who touches anything that she sits on must wash their clothes. They must take a bath. They will be unclean until evening. It does not matter whether it was her bed or anything she was sitting on. If anyone touches it, they will be unclean until evening. Suppose a man sleeps with that woman, and suppose blood from her unsleep period touches him, then he will be unclean for 7 days. Any bed he lies on will be unclean. Suppose blood flows from a woman's body for many days, and it happens at a time other than her unsleep period, or blood keeps flowing after the period is over, then she will be unclean as long as the blood continues to flow. She will be unclean just as she is during the days of her period. Any bed she lies on while her blood continues to flow will be unclean. It's the same as it is when she is having her period. Anything she sits on will be unclean. If anyone touches those things, they will be unclean. They must wash their clothes. They must take a bath. They will be unclean until evening. Suppose the woman has been healed from her flow of blood, then she must wait 7 days. After that, she will be clean. On the 8th day, she must get 2 doves or 2 young pigeons. She must bring them to the priest at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The priest must sacrifice them. One is for a sin offering, the other is for a burnt offering. In that way, he will pay for her sin in the sight of the Lord. He will do it because her flow of blood made her unclean. You must keep the Israelites away from things that make them unclean. Then they will not die for being unclean, and they will not die for marking the place unclean where I, the Lord, live. It is in the middle of the camp. These are the rules for a man who has liquid waste flowing out of his body. They apply to a man made unclean by sin that flows from his body. They apply to a woman having her monthly period. They apply to a man or woman who has a liquid flow, and they apply to a man who sleeps with a woman who is unclean. Yeah, well, today we did all the books, so, well, today we learned about when the man and woman will be unclean, when woman will be unclean at her monthly period or blood flow, and man will be unclean when semen gets out from his body. So yeah, today that's all. Okay, let's start. Dear God, today we learned about Leviticus chapter 15. Today we learned about men and women. When a woman will be unclean when they have liquid body waste. And today we learned that we always need to have our minds and mind them body pure and trust God. And thank you always for being with us. Amen. Okay, so well, it's the end of the video, right? So thank you for watching my videos, and I'll see you next time. Well, goodbye.